name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. As it so often happens to us in our following of the church calendar, we find ourselves this Sunday with, again, sort of a double holiday. The first one being, of course, that this is the, let's say, the second Sunday in Lent, and the other one being that that it's also coincidentally or synchronistically the 16th of March is also the actual date of the martyrdom of Montségur, which we have commemorated on Friday. So once again, a double holiday. Now, I have been pretty loquacious, as I recall, on Friday, so probably everything and anything that could be said about Montségur Day has been uttered at that time already by myself, and so we just need to keep in mind again that this is a great event in the history of the Gnosis in the West, and that the martyrdom of countless hundreds of Cathar Gnostics occurred at that time, and it has been commemorated on the 16th at all times. Now, as to something else, I am sure that you are all well aware, or you will be well aware when you drink the green beer. I don't think we have any here right today, but it's just because we have a minority of Irish in our usual congregation. Otherwise, we would have the green beer, you know. In any event, of course, the 17th is the festival of the patron saint of Ireland, Saint Patrick, which is celebrated with considerable joy and bibulousness by those of Irish allegiance the world over. Now, so it may be just very briefly touched that what does the custom of having a patron saint for a country, patron saint for a city, and various things of that sort really imply. And the important thing to remember is that anything worth doing is worth consecrating and praying for. That's a fairly good way of approaching it. You know that even today, not so very long ago, a few years ago, the Polish Parliament proclaimed solemnly the Blessed Virgin Mary as the Queen of Poland. They didn't even make any further explanation of it. And in my native country, the Blessed Virgin also has been known since the days of Saint Stephan as the Patrona Hungariae, the patroness of Hungary. And so are many. Because, let's face it, all things in this world, especially those that are designed to bring us closer to the divine, are worthy of beings in that manner specially dedicated. You know, I would venture to suggest, don't make a second Charles Leadbeater out of me or something of that sort, but I would venture to suggest, at least that is how my imagination plays with this, that beyond the veil, so to say, there are countless beings, saints, angels, various other transfigured spirits, and they sort of wait for us here to call upon them. And when we call upon them, then they come. Obviously, they don't come in physical form because that is not their manifestation at this time, but they come and they try to fulfill henceforth the task for which they have been called. And so when they declared, say, Saint Patrick, who was not an Irishman, he was a Roman, and his name Patricius actually means that he was a patrician Roman, which means the first rank of nobility in the Roman state. In any event, he came from Rome to complete the Christianization of the Celtic peoples on the British Isles, and then was, because of that function, he was declared as the patron saint, particularly of Ireland, because that is where he settled and that is where a lot of his work was done. So let's try to keep that in our minds in a more general fashion, namely that the availability of divine help usually by way of the divine messengers. And this goes all the way from saints, all the way to Jesus Christ and other great messengers of the light. So let's say when we call upon them, the celestial hierarchies respond. And once again, I don't want to bring in highly personal perceptions, but just a very, very little minor example of that. As many of you know, our small chapel in the back of the garden has on the walls several angelic icons. They are not the most expensive icons, but they are expressive of their intention nevertheless. And so when I had sort of the inspiration after they have been hung up to at the time of the second sensing, to sense the icons, which is an Orthodox custom also. And lo and behold, and I think one other person perceived the same thing, that as you, and I would pronounce, let's say, Saint Michael, Sancti Michael, ora pro nobis. When those words are pronounced and the incense is being offered to the icon just lit up like it was filled with electric power. And I said, You see the response. When you call upon the saints, when you call upon the helpers and the guardians, they come. And if the situation permits, they'll give you a sign, yes, I am here, I have come, I have responded to your call. So that's just a little example of really what Jeffrey Hodgson called the what did he call it? I think he called it the brotherhood of angels and of men. And that means that we are related. We also have an angelic nature. Our spiritual nature is very much like that of an angel, which doesn't mean that we are very angelic in our lives most of the time, but it means that there is an underlying relationship that is akin to the relationship of good people to each other, or sometimes to the dead who were close to us, and so, they are not gone. And the degree of their presence in our situation and in our lives depends on us. When we call on them, they come. When we require their help, they give us their help. And that is because the spiritual beings, the beings that live in the spiritual world, still have a connection with us, and they respond to our calling upon them and our prayers. And that this is a very important thing, because, believe it or not, I think loneliness, desertion, being bereft of anything greater than our physical selfhood is an important issue in our lives. And so we have to call upon those whom we cannot see, and they will come in one way or the other. There's no doubt about it, because that is one of their according to Geoffrey Hudson, that's one of their greatest ways in which they can still be connected with us here on earth, and their nature is that of being helpers. And so, therefore, when they are chosen as patron saints, when they are or the angels of the various duties, such as Raphael, the angel of healing, Michael, the fighter against evil, and so forth. When we call upon them in their function, they will do that. And I think that if we can accept that at some level, then we are really doing something good to ourselves, because we have become conscious of our friends whom we cannot see physically most of the time, but who are here to help us and who are eager to do so and who actually do so. So I think it's therefore for patron saints, in the same way in the old baptismal rites, when you baptize somebody and give him a baptismal name, which is traditional, then the interesting thing is that now there is a connection between the particular saint and the person who has been thus baptized. So you might say your internal sacred household has increased thereby. And for this reason, in traditional Catholic countries and families, they try to baptize the child to as many names as possible, so that all of those saints will come in. So I was baptized to Stephan, Andrew, Henry, Maurice, Valentine. And for the others, we know sort of the nominal reason, because they were grandparents, godparents, and so forth. But my father insisted on Valentine, and he never told anybody why. But of course, he lived in England for many years, and he said that in England the martyr Saint Valentine is very highly revered, and as we found out that there is another Valentine not only in England but elsewhere, who is the Holy Valentinus of Rome, the great Gnostic father. So, it's I know that to the Protestants these things are idolatry and so forth, but you know what? I have a feeling that the more friends I have in the good place, and the better I will be, and that this is a good thing. And moreover, just to kind of contradict the Protestants a little bit, the idea of a chosen deity is one that exists in almost all the different traditions, beginning with the Hindus. There is the concept of the Ishta Devata, the chosen deity. And people chose their own deity, and then that is the one that they primarily pray to during their lives. For instance, the chosen deity of Mahatma Gandhi was the god Rama. And when the murderers came in, because Gandhi is also a martyr, when the murderers came into his house to kill him and they shot him, he shouted with a sonorous voice, Ram, 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 and then he died. So you see that's the Ishta Devata, the chosen deity. So that's very much like the individuals who have acquired by one way or the other, preferably sacramentally, a connection with the kingdom of the saints, which are the equivalents of the deities in the non-Christian religions, and that it is important for us to remember that, because as I tried to indicate a minute ago, we really deserve to have more friends than we have, including the invisible ones. And when they make an appearance, even if you don't see them visually, often when you are used to these things, often you feel that there is someone there, and that feeling, of course, is the salutation of the patron saint to you, and this is a very important and very helpful thing, because the more help we have in this helpless world, the better off we are. And that is very important to remember. All right, now I have a little surprise for you, if I can do it, because we have in our midst Devakai, who has been, orbiting around our community for quite a number of years, and I remember her very well when she used to come to our old chapel on Glendale Boulevard, and even then we were talking about the fact that how regrettable it is that the liberal Catholic Church, which she belonged to at the time, did not ordain women to lesser or greater orders, and that maybe should be rectified. So what I am going to ask Devakai now, because she says she found a black cassock that may fit her. Yeah. So maybe you could go and find it, and then come in with it. And also, I understand there are innumerable white surplices in the closet that we often use for the vestry too. So if you can get a black cassock and a white surplice, that would be the best. If you only get a black cassock, then that'll be enough too. And then we'll do the little order to the minor order of cleric in this case.
Stephan?
Yes.
Do you want that to be filmed, or do you want to finish your homily and then turn off the camera? Or what do you want?
Oh yeah, they didn't give the blessing. Well, while she finds that, let's say keep in mind that we have many more friends than we think, and many of them may be invisible under ordinary circumstances, although, for instance, one thing, I am a dog lover, I have noticed that most dogs are sensitive enough to see spirits. And I have seen them react, and it's really quite amazing when this has done before, and you expect a spirit to come in a room and go through the room. For instance, there's a group of dogs present, they all sit up and they watch, as if somebody visible to them goes through the room. This I have seen on many, many occasions in a place where there was a nice contingent of dogs and a pretty smart one at that. So many domestic animals have the ability to see the invisible. And let's say, so keep in mind that's an important thing, and that we have our invisible friends, with the brotherhood of angels and of men, and you don't need to get put off by the word angel either, because angelos simply means messenger. It means a messenger from another world, a messenger from another reality, a messenger from God. And we certainly should welcome such. So if we keep that in mind, and then we can transfer that to people who have been chosen as patron saints of countries, such as Saint Patrick. So I think that concludes that, although you know how it is, I can always talk, but that may not be in Hungary, for instance, the first king, Saint Stephan, after whom I am named, is the chief patron of the country. There are hymns addressed to him that are sung to this day, and on Saint Stephan's Day in Hungary, which is a different day from other countries, 20th of August there, I remember when, to the great displeasure of our already communist masters, we had, it was counted later, we had something like 180,000 Hungarians in the streets of Budapest celebrating the patron saint of the country. And it was a great, and Cardinal Mindszenty of blessed memory was still there. It was a great and a wonderful time, and I tell you, if the invisible was not present there, then it never was. So it's a very wise move to have that kind of a connection with those who are not in the flesh, but who are still there anxious to come to us.